What is going on, everybody? Simply10 here, and today I'm happy to report to you that I've reached yet another milestone in my YouTube journey, and that is because just the other day I hit 100 subscribers. And while that obviously is kind of a small milestone in terms of like the entire YouTube spectrum, in terms of like all the people out there in the world, there are way more than 100 people, but at least that means that 100 people enjoy what I make and they want to see what I'm doing. It also means that I'm one step closer to that 1,000 subscriber mark, which is when I get monetized here on YouTube, as long as, I also have 4,000 hours of watch time. So, just baby steps. I'm making my way there, and I'm feeling good about it. And if you recall, about a month ago, I released a video talking about how to get your first 50 subscribers. So here I am 50 subscribers later with 10 more tips to give to you. Well, almost 10. I threw in a couple from last time because I feel like they're pretty important. But if you want even more tips than this, there actually is another video that I made called How to Get Your First 50 Subscribers on YouTube. And well, I kind of hope this turns into a series where every single milestone I make a video giving you more tips. So without further ado, here are my 10 new tips on how to get your first 100 subscribers here on YouTube. Just one thing that I would like to mention before we jump in here is, well, I'm obviously a channel here on YouTube because I'm talking about a subscriber mark that I just reached. And well, if you enjoy this video, it's not really like how my other videos are situated. I'm usually about like Legos and Star Wars and 10 things about those. But if you find these tips helpful or enjoyable, or if you kind of just want to watch me grow, or you're growing and you want to grow together, and if you're any of those things, then really consider subscribing and hitting that bell so you don't miss out on my next milestone video. And along with that, there are actually prizes if you guys can get me to 1,000 subscribers. But back to the content, because that's why you're always here. Well, I mean, you might be here for the intro, but you're probably here for the content. And that all starts with number one, which is kind of like a vague thing that I didn't really know existed for a while here on YouTube. And I don't know if it's kind of helped, but I feel like it might have, because when I did this, it did seem like that's kind of when things started kicking off. And that is, I put in channel keywords. And I'm not talking about those keyword things that you can put in at the bottom of all your videos, which are also helpful, I'll talk about later. But what I'm talking about right now are channel keywords, which is something that you go in and put in your channel settings on YouTube Studio, and it's sort of like keywords that describe your entire channel. And what I believe this does is it gives YouTube sort of like your niche here, like it tells you what you're here for, and like if your videos keywords match your like channel keywords, then I feel like they're more likely to push that video out to other people. Because your channel keywords are saying that you're a master of that subject, so when you release a video about that subject, then they kind of just work together and it ranks you even higher. And like I said earlier, it was something that I didn't know when I started here on YouTube, so it's a technique I started using a little bit later. And well, I mean, I didn't really grow at first, and it was a little bit later when things started happening, and the things really didn't kick off until like a month ago. But those channel keywords, I feel like were involved in that process. And if you don't know how to access them, you have to use a laptop or any computer. You go to studio.youtube.com and you access, your account, you log in and stuff. And then it should be under settings. So, for me, I have like my channel name as a keyword. I have 10 things as a keyword. I have Lego. I have Star Wars. I have all those things that I talk about as my keywords. Number two is something else that I also feel like did a good job at, promoting my channel and making people want to come back, and that is the fact that I uploaded consistently. Now, I obviously don't upload every single day of the week or, exactly the same time every single week, but what I do is I upload every single week. Giving people, like basically a promise that you upload every single week does make them like, more willing to come back, because if you just dump 10 videos and don't do anything for like months, then that's not going to do anything for you. It'd be better to space out those 10 videos across 10 weeks and then just keep going every single week. Just have a new video. That way people always have something to come back to and also something to rely on. People don't want to follow something that's just like a weak, like amateur channel that doesn't know what they're doing. They want to follow someone who has like a schedule, who knows what they're doing, who, that uploading consistently is a big part of like creating like an audience here on YouTube. Number three is something that I talked about in my 50 subscriber video, and that is the fact that you need to have a video outline. Videos without outlines are so boring because the people talking in them have no idea what they're talking about. They just keep rambling on and on and on about something that, they like planned on talking about, but they didn't really like make a plan about what exactly they were going to talk about. And don't just map it out in your head, write it down. Put it in front of you as like a card, just like I have right here in front of you, except, you can't see it, but I can see it. I don't have all this stuff in my head. I know what I'm supposed to say, and I plan it out that way, you guys are intrigued and interested instead of just sitting there like, waiting for it to end. And for me, it's really easy because I just write down, the 10 things I'm going to talk about in that video and sort of just a few other additional things underneath all of them. And well, for you, it's probably important that you just sort of split them up into, separate sections, like kind of think about like the sections of your video and then put that into your outline and then have, a few sub-bullet points underneath each of them. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend a script because that kind of makes people sound weird sometimes. Like, I don't know how I feel about scripting out your video, but at least give yourself an outline so you know what you're going to talk about and what you're going to say. Another thing that I felt like I had to mention again at number 4, don't worry, this is the only other tip that I put in my previous video, and that's the fact that when you're making your outline, something that you need to include in it is the part where you've specifically asked people to subscribe. People really don't subscribe unless you ask them to. Well, I mean, obviously, if you have like really good content and everyone who comes to your channel wants to subscribe because they just are in love with it that much, then well, you don't need to ask them, I guess, but in what world do you have that great of content at first? Especially, you know, when you're first starting out and, you know, like it just takes a while to develop a YouTube personality and it's just, you know, you need to ask people to subscribe or else people won't subscribe. And not only that, make sure you do it at the beginning of your video rather than the end because people are still paying attention at the beginning and by the end, you know, they're not really listening anymore. They kind of turn it off once they know that the content that they're waiting for is over. Now for number 5 is something that some videos tell you to, some videos tell you not to. It's kind of back and forth, like it's kind of confusing on what you're supposed to do, but in my opinion, you should be putting a lot of keywords in as tags. And not just a lot of keywords, you have to make sure that they're related keywords because if they're obviously kind of like weird and random and you know, they like sort of encompass your video, but they don't really encompass your video, it's gonna make YouTube confused and they're not gonna know where to put your video. So make sure you have a lot of related keywords in your tags and then put your best keywords from those tags into your description and then put your best ones from your description into your title. That way YouTube sort of sees like, you know, that same word everywhere. They see it in your tags, they see it in your description, they see it in your title, and then also make sure that you say the words in your video that you're talking about. But just make sure, you know, you start at the base, like with the tags. Because obviously I don't quite know if that's what's working, but obviously my channel is working right now, so whatever it is I'm doing, it's working, so I'm telling you all the things that I'm doing, you know, because something's bound to work for you. Number 6 is to always be recording. Now, obviously, I kind of like stop and start at the end of each section, but when I'm talking about a section, I don't stop the recording and restart and, you know, start from the beginning again. I just keep going. Sometimes you do things that you don't quite mean to do and they actually end up being pretty good, and sometimes, you know, it's just like, this is more of like a helpful tip. I'm not exactly sure how many subscribers this tip will get you, but this is a really good one because if you just keep recording, then you have a lot less content to go through in terms of editing. Because, you know, sometimes you mess up and it's different times and things happen and you're not exactly sure if that was like, you know, the best cut that you took. But if you have multiple cuts of the same thing that you're doing over and over again, then you can sort of pick and choose, and then in the end, it will create the best video. Like, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of singers, they sing the song multiple times, and then people go through and they cut up the pieces, and they put the best pieces from each time they sing it, and then that's the complete song. So this ties into the idea where you should always be recording, you should always have your camera on, because, I mean, you might just, like, miss out on something really good that you did, and then you cut it. And while that probably won't lower the quality of the video that much, it definitely will have an effect. Next up here at number 7 is something that I do in all of my videos, and that's the fact that I put my most popular video on my end screen. And what I mean by this is your most popular video in terms of subscribers per view. Not only that, I actually make it the biggest video on my end screen, so when you see the end of my video, you'll notice that I always have like that little box that says like, you know, my most popular video. It wasn't always like that with like the box around it, but I've always had that big video there at the end. So this doesn't always mean the video that's gotten you the most subscribers. Like, obviously, if the topic you talked about in that video is no longer relevant, or if it's something that, you know, you kind of, like, you have a ton of views on that video and low subscribers compared to, you know, another video that does have less subscribers, but there's less views also, so it kind of, like, means that more people like that video more. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is if you have a video that has gotten you a ton of subscribers, you need to put that video on your end screen. That way, anyone who watches any of your videos is then led to that video that will most likely make them subscribe. Alright, so here at number 8 is something that I actually did at first, and I can't believe I did this. Like, I can't believe that I thought this was a good idea, but don't have an obnoxious intro. My very first intro was 10 seconds long, and it was a very poorly made stop motion. And while all my video is now, it's just the last 1.5 seconds of that same video, and it's just so much nicer, and it doesn't draw anyone away like I'm guessing my old intro did. And while obviously it's still a poorly made stop motion, at least it's only 1.5 seconds long, so people aren't like that annoyed at it by the time it's over. But your intro isn't always just the intro itself, it's also what you do at the beginning of the video. And what you need to do at the beginning of the video is you need to not talk about yourself. You need to first promise your viewers what you're going to show them in this video. You can, you know, kind of give a little prelude to it. And then you can ask for subscribers like I do, and then you go back into the video. It will just drive people away if you just do things by yourself, like a really long, obnoxious intro, or you talk about how many subscribers you want, and please give me subscribers. And while that is all fine and dandy, you need to make sure that your audience knows that you're still there for them and that you have good content up ahead. And just don't do the intro thing like I did. Like, if you have a 1.5 second thing like I do, then use that. But if you have a 10-second one, I highly doubt that it's a good intro. Sorry. Number 9 is something that I didn't discover until a little bit later in my YouTube journey, and that is the fact that you can put a subscribe button in the corner of your video. I don't know if you noticed it, but there is one in the corner of this one, and I mean, it does say subscribe on it. You can click on it. There's like a subscribe option. You should click on it right now, you know? But yeah, mine is just a little reminder that if the audience is enjoying the video, then they should subscribe. All you need is like a square picture or something that says subscribe, and then you go to YouTube Studio, and then you put it in right in the same area where you change your channel art and your profile picture. Along with that, I also have it so it kind of appears like 5 seconds after the video starts, so you know, it kind of causes a little bit of motion that grabs the audience's attention, hopefully. And while I obviously don't have like a counter that tells me how many people have subscribed based off of my subscribe button in the corner, I have a feeling that I have had at least a few people who have done that. And finally, here at number 10 is something that I am doing right now, and that is the fact that I have a giveaway for a milestone. Giveaways can actually bring in a lot of subscribers because they realize that there's more in it for them than just great videos. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't want my great videos, but I guess you want the prize. People just like prizes, and it's fun to, you know, say that if they can get you to somewhere that's a prize to you, then you'll give a prize to them. It just gives them a prize in return for the prize they're giving you, instead of just, you know, you're just sitting there passively accepting all your audience's love. But anyways, that is all I had to say for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much, you guys, for getting me to 100 subscribers, and I hope that we can reach even more than 100 more. I'm still on a quest for that 1,000 subscriber mark, and I just really hope that, you know, that in the next year or so, I can finally reach that point. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to let me know by leaving a like or even a comment in the section down below, letting me know, you know, what I did well, what I should change in the next one, things like that. Or, you know, if you don't like commenting about me, then comment and let me know, like, what tip you'll go out and use now on your own channel. And once again, if you really enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell so you don't miss out on my next milestone video. And I know that I don't make content like this all the time, but I make it, you know, often enough every single time I hit a milestone, obviously. And it might even be fun, even if you're not that interested in the content itself, it might be fun to grow together. But you know, in the end, what I really hope for is to see you in the next one.